Hey, come see us in Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey at the Icarus Festival, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So here's another tweet from Arnaud Bertrand. So this is the Hungary's foreign minister, and he's talking about the sanctions that we put on Russia, the economic sanctions that we put on Russia. Who do you think it hurt? Did it hurt Russia? Did it hurt Europe? Did it hurt the United States? Well, he's going to tell us.
Let me give you 3 examples why I say that the whole European Union and the whole North Atlantic community is super hypocritical on that. There's a huge hypocrisy in this regard.
Specifically on the sanctions?
Yeah, and on this whole relationship with Russia. Just three quick instances. First, I'm personally responsible in the government for the...
Because he's saying that we do these economic sanctions on Russia, and then we have all this business we do with Russia. That's what he's going to tell you about. All the business they actually do with Russia while they're sanctioning Russia.
Oh.
And who actually gets hurt by the sanctions? What?
So was the goal actually to hurt us?
And that's what's happening. Watch this.
I'm personally responsible in the government for the construction of the new nuclear power plant in Hungary. On nuclear, we are on the same page with the United Kingdom. Maybe not on the fact that we are working together with the Russians on that, but on nuclear, we are on the same side. So, in 2014, we signed a contract with Rosatom, which is the Russian nuclear energy company, to build a nuclear power plant for us, okay? We are now building the nuclear power plant, the land preparation, everything is going on. Russians, okay? If I take you to the site tomorrow, you will see huge works going on. But you will see American, German, and French subcontractors working on the site, paid by the Russians to work there. Okay, so this is my first point. Second point of mine.
So that's the first hypocrisy. So they contracted in 2014 to build a nuclear plant with Russia, and now you see Americans and Europeans being paid by Russians to build this thing in Hungary. Okay, here's the second one.
Have been under constant pressure not to work together with the Russians on nuclear energy, not to buy nuclear fuel from the Russians. I mean, if we don't buy nuclear fuel from the Russians, we have to shut down the nuclear power plants of ours, nuclear power plant, which currently covers 33% of the electricity demand of ours. Okay, stop buying nuclear fuel. Who was the #1 supplier of uranium of the United States last year? Russia. United States spent more than $1 billion on Russian uranium last year. Russia was the #1 uranium supplier of the United States last year, and they are putting pressure on us not to buy fuel from the Russians. Third point I want to make. Oil. The Western Europeans are so proud of themselves. We got rid of Russian oil.
We got rid of Russian oil.
You Central Europeans, you could not make it. You know, that's how much we are better than you. You know, we got rid of Russian oil. Share of Russian oil to India was below 1% before the war. Now it's very close to 40%. Before the war, Europe was not buying Indian oil. Now Europe is the #1 customer of Indian oil. Okay? So, and since we are not buying it, I guess there are others in Europe who are buying it, and those must be those who say that they are not buying oil from Russia. So when it comes to cooperation with Russia, I understand it's very easy to say that, you know, Szijjártó is friend of Lavrov, Orban is meeting with Putin, you know, you Hungarians, you are, you know, traitors, you are the propagandists of Kremlin. Very easy to say. But when you look behind the scenes, you see that those who are accusing us, they are making much bigger business and much bigger deals with the Russians than we do. So, I mean, you have to look at facts. I understand politics is, you know, on many occasions about perceptions, ideologies, whatever. But if you look at the facts, then you find some surprises. But, you know, not everybody is, you know, ready enough, you know, to look after these facts. So that would be my answer on that.
Hungary blocked, for a time, the EU's package.
So what he's saying is, so they said, hey, we're not going to, we're not buying Russian oil, right? But now what is happening is Russia is giving selling their oil to India, and then India is selling that oil to Europe. That's what he just said.
We knew that right away.
So they're still using Russian oil. And then the United States is telling Europe, don't do nuclear power with Russia. And we're the ones buying $1 billion worth of their uranium. All the uranium. So it's just constant. So that's the first point he makes, that we're totally, the United States totally full of shit when it comes to this. And now let's see what this is.
Aid and support to Ukraine has gone through now. Will that happen again, do you think?
No, I mean, this must be a mistake, sorry to say, with all my respect, because we have not blocked any aid to Ukraine. We are just simply not delivering weapons. We are carrying out the largest humanitarian operation of the history of our country. So there's no blocked aid from our side. The only thing what we said, we do not deliver weapons. What the others do is their own responsibility. What we don't like is the sanction policy. Because, I mean, again, whenever we discuss the sanction policy, and I'm brave enough to raise the question, what is the goal? And the goal is to push Russia on its knees and to push Russia stop the war. That was the goal 2 years ago. And my question is, okay, 2 years gone, Was the sanction regime helpful in this regard? Is Russia on its knees and is the war coming to an end? No. And when I say, okay, then let's look at the impacts on us. Then instead of making a thorough analysis, the answer I get that you are the propagandist of Kremlin or friend of the Russians, period. So this is the way of rational debate.
So he says, let's see. So the whole point of the sanctions was to end the war and bring Russia to its knees. Any of those things happening? No. He says, so let's look at the effect it's having on us. And when I say let's look at the effect it's having on us, people call me a Putin puppet, a propagandist of the Kremlin.
You sound familiar to you? Like, remember the BLM riots and small businesses go out of business?
Yeah.
And they go, look at how it's affecting me. You're racist. Or Iraq. Yeah. There's weapons of mass destruction. No, there aren't. You're a whatever. Take your pick.
That's right.
They play the same goddamn song every time. It's always to put a smaller guy out of business or country. And have a cartel that runs the whole thing.
So he's got more to say.
Currently in the European Union. But the sanctions policy have put a lot of harm on the European economies. I mean, look at us, for example. Look at us. I mean, our inflation rate has skyrocketed to 27% last year. Last year we had to sacrifice in order to fight against inflation and bring down now it's 3.8. But it was 27%, not because of us, because of this environment. Our national energy bill has increased from 7 billion euros to 17 billion euros. You know, so it's a huge increase, 10 billion euros extra. I mean, if you put into consideration our GDP is like 5% of that. So that's why we do believe that some rationality should be part of the decision-making procedure of ours, even if I understand that in a war environment it's very complicated maybe to remain rational, but some rationality should be kept.
It's not irrational. It's on purpose. They're doing this rationally.
So there he goes again. Look what's happening. We were spending $7 billion on our energy. Now we're paying $17 billion. Our inflation went up to 27%. These sanctions are hurting us. And if you say that, they call you a Kremlin propagandist or a Putin puppet. It's exactly just like I would say, hey, funding this war in Ukraine is hurting us. What are you, a Putin puppet? So that's what.
Is this even a war with Russia or a war to like destroy whatever's small and make it absorbed into the larger thing? Because it didn't weaken Russia at all. And that statement from Russia and China, kind of ominous, I have to say, like, oh, times are changing.
Yeah.
And who's going to be left? Like all the small, that's crazy. It's like putting them out of business. Or us.
Or us. Okay.
Yeah, it's on purpose. It's all bullshit. They're not irrational. They're doing it on purpose. They wouldn't do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Would they?
By mistake? No. It's a great moneymaker, right? And it's a great to destroy competition. Cartel. A cartel's not working on accident. They're not.
Here we're doing stand-up in Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ontario, California, Irvine, California, Las Vegas, Davenport, Iowa, Chicago, Grand Rapids. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and make sure you go to jimmydore.com and don't go to a second reseller. Not good.